Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 8th, 2025 meeting of the Milford Zoning Board of Appeals. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Montano is excused tonight. Mr. Dubois?
Here.
Mr. Enig?
Here.
Ms. Hirsch?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. Soda?
Here.
Mr. Wolf?
Here.
And Chair Fronte?
Here. Also present this evening are zoning enforcement officers Stephen Harris and Meg Green, our recording secretary. Mr. Montano is out tonight, so Ms. Hirsch will be voting in his place and acting as secretary. Again, I would just like to repeat that if you are here for 114 Point Lookout, that matter has been settled and will not be heard tonight. Additionally, 171 3rd Avenue, 47 North Street, and 354 North Street have all been either postponed or extended to May and will not be heard tonight. So moving on with our first item, Ms. Hirsch.
25 Undine Street, MBP 41/358/7, R10, Andrew Schufelt, owner, to vary section 3.1.4.1, building area to 39%, where 35% permitted to build in addition. Survey by R. Plain, December 29th, 2024.
Hi, I'm Andrew Schufelt, longtime resident, 40 years. The house was built by my wife's great-grandfather about 100 years ago. We're looking to put an in-law apartment on the back for my elderly mother-in-law. She can't do stairs anymore. That's why it's kind of like a one-level thing instead of an up-down unit. What else? Yeah, slab on grade. She could pull up to the door. And with it, we were hoping we could put the kitchen out to the exterior wall of the ADU. Our current kitchen right now is roughly 7 by 9 with 4 doorways in it. Main entrance, rear entrance, laundry room, where the fridge is because it doesn't even fit in there. The only bathroom in the house and the rest of the house. So yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for the applicant? Mr. King.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Excellent. What's your hardship that you need to go over I believe the ground floor area?
I think it's mostly just to do the in-law apartment, we have to get that like 700 square feet. We couldn't go up down with it, so I'm just trying to build a reasonable size ADU without, I don't know, I can't really have the steps. Other than that, I guess the surveyor said, he left a note on the survey saying that a lot of the other lots in the neighborhood are 10,000 square feet. This one's 8,900. If this was a 10,000 square foot lot, it would be under.
And did you, you said something about getting to 700 square foot. Did you not want to go smaller? Did you try to go smaller?
I think right now it's at about 680 or something like that. It's listed on one of the pages.
652?
652, yeah.
What do you know what size you'd have to get to keep the
I think we're over by a couple hundred square feet.
Okay. And you're adding to your kitchen in the main part of the house too, right?
Yeah, we wanted to bump that out because the current kitchen is basically just a hallway with 4 doors in a 7 foot by 9 space. So we were hoping we could bump that out, put an island where the exterior wall is, and basically use the current kitchen as a hallway.
How much does the kitchen addition add?
I believe it's probably 100 or 200 square feet. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I would have to, I don't have it in front of me.
So it wouldn't save you, is what,
It wouldn't put us under. I was also thinking I could take the shed down, but then I don't have anywhere for the lawnmower. I don't know. But
okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Is there anyone speaking in favor of this application? Is there anyone? Yes.
Sorry. There were, I think, 3 letters of support that we received from neighbors.
Okay, great. Is there anyone speaking in opposition to this application? Are there any more questions for the applicant? Okay, this hearing is closed. Mr. Soto.
25 Undyne Street, I move to approve the request to vary section 3.1.4.1 building area to 39%, where 35% permitted to build over garage. To build over garage. Survey by our plane, 12/29/2024. Is that, well, that's what it says.
I know, I'm sorry.
Mr. Soto, why don't we just read it off of the agenda? I move to approve and then off of the agenda.
I move to approve, what's the address? 25 Undyne Street. So vary section 3.1.4.1 building area to 39%, where 35% permitted to build an addition. Survey by our plane, 12/29/24.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Yeah, I think he's not asking for much here. I mean, it's not an oversized addition, you know. He's got a small kitchen now, 7 by 9 with 4 doorways. Can't do much with that. And the refrigerator's in another room. So I don't have a problem with this. He's not asking for much.
And we have 3 letters of support and no one speaking in opposition. Mr. King?
I don't see that he's not exceeding any setbacks. The issue with his mother not being able to go upstairs precludes him from putting a second floor on. I don't see a real problem with this.
Yes, he's not exceeding any setbacks, and if he were 10,000 square foot lot, he would be in compliance. Okay, any other thoughts? Okay, we'll take it to a vote. Mr. King?
With the motion?
Mr. Wolf?
With the motion.
Mr. Soto?
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch?
With the motion.
And I'm with the motion. The motion passes. Item number 2, Ms. Hirsch.
7 Point Lookout East, MVP 28/582/6, R12.5, Thomas Lynch Esquire for Ochner Place, my apologies if I mispronounce, LLC, owner to vary section 3.1.4.1, front yard setback to 22.9 feet where 30 feet required north side, and 26.2 feet where 30 feet required east side, to vary rear yard setback to 8.7 feet where 25 feet required to connect existing garage to house, 4.1.4 front porch projection to 18.2 feet where 26 feet permitted north side, section 6.3.2 for expansion of non-conforming structure for addition to second floor, survey by J. Dennison, reviewed on January 21st, 2025.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just for the record, my name is Thomas Lynch. I'm an attorney with the law firm Lynch, Trembinky, and Boynton, and my office is located here in Milford at 63 Cherry Street. And I have the pleasure of appearing before you tonight on behalf of my clients, Mark and Michelle Greengarden. Mark and Shelley purchased the property at 7 Point Lookout last year with their family LLC, of which they are the owners of. And these applications, or this application is presented to you tonight for a reasonable expansion of their house. It's a 1,800 square foot 3-bedroom home that was built in the late 1940s on Point Lookout East, in the Point Lookout section of Milford. And again, presenting this application to you and starting off my presentation by stressing the point that this is reasonable. The property is located along the curve in the intersection of Point Lookout and Point Lookout East. So the first variance that we're seeking is for a bump-out sunroom on the east side of the current residence, as well as a projection variance for a front porch, which was basically similar in design. The plans that are presented to you tonight were designed by Joe Rousseau, who did the addition for Linda Fogler at 30 Point Lookout East. We appeared before you back in October, I believe, and those applications on 30 Point Lookout East were approved. So, back in the late 1940s, the homes were built in Point Lookout, and the zone was upgraded so that a lot of the homes in Point Lookout have a non-conforming front yard, such as what we have here. So the house itself is non-conforming. The current house configuration is non-conforming. So the request is to recognize that non-conforming front yard setback on the east side of the property, but also have a projection variance for the new portico or the porch to come out the front. Along the other side of the property on Point Lookout East, Stephen's showing the survey right now. We can get into the elevations and the floor plans as well. But as you can see on the survey, there's a small bump out. My clients want to be able to afford the water view down Point Lookout East to Long Island Sound with that sunroom that's there with a second floor balcony over the top. So the overall addition to the house will be some 1,200 square feet. The current house is 1,800 square feet. The finished house with the addition will be less than 3,000 square feet. So again, a very reasonable addition compared to all of the other renovations that have gone on down in Point Lookout. I'm sure you've all driven down there and you've seen that the houses over the last 10 years with the second floor additions that have gone on or the other renovations, it's a beautiful neighborhood, and my clients want to enhance the property and have their house be in conformity with the other homes in the neighborhood. The hardship exists because of the fact the property has to carry 2 front yard setbacks. So this board has recognized that as a hardship in the past. The rear yard setback is merely to allow the detached garage to be attached to the house with a mudroom. So there's going to be no additional construction there. There's not going to be any addition to the garage. There's not going to be a second floor put onto the garage or any additional living space there. So again, I think that is a hardship in and of itself because the existing structure is there. Merely adding a mudroom to connect the house to the garage does not increase the infringement upon the neighbors that are behind the house. In other words, the garage is existing. It's just going to merely be attached to the house. The lot coverage is zoning compliant. It's permitted on that zone to have a 45% lot coverage. With the addition, the lot coverage will be 43%. The building coverage is zoning compliant. Again, in the R12 zone, you're permitted 27% lot coverage, building coverage. The building coverage here would be 22%. Lastly, we've heard through my clients, speaking to neighbors, that there's concerns about infringement of water views. These plans have been designed by Joe Rousseau to not infringe anybody's water view. The addition to the second floor will increase the height of the house from 12 feet that it is, 23 feet that it is, 12 feet that it is now to 23 feet when it's finished. And again, we all know the zoning regulations allow up to 35 feet to the midpoint of the roof line. So the finished house will have a elevation of 23 feet, 12 feet below that which is permitted by the zoning regulations. So I think with all of this presented to you, and again, Stephen's got the survey, I'd like to just show the elevations, if we can go through those. This shows the front portico that's proposed to the front. Again, aesthetically adding a front doorway and porch to the property. It's the exact same design that was presented to you 3 months ago for the property at 30 Point Lookout East. This shows the bump out of the sunroom on the easterly side of the house, again with a deck. It's not going to be a finished structure on the second floor. It'll just have a patio on the second floor. This is the side view of the sunroom coming out to the east, again from another angle. And that shows just how the finished patio will be in the back with the roof line of the addition. Again, stressing the fact to you that the rear yard setback request is, since the garage would be attached to the house, it becomes part of the principal structure. So instead of the 5-foot setback that's allowed in the zone, it's some 4 feet 7 off of the rear line. There's going to be no additional construction, but by connecting the house and the garage with the mudroom, it necessitates requesting the variance request for that. So that's the extent of our presentation to you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Our architect, Joe Rousseau, is here with me, as well as my clients, and if there's any questions, happy to entertain them. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Lynch. Question about the front of the house, the bump out there. Is that just a projection for a landing, or is the front of the house itself? You said something about a sunroom?
No, the landing is in the front. The sunroom is where the cursor is there.
Okay. So that is projecting how much further than the current existing front stairs?
Stephen is the wizard at writing these. When it comes to the projection language, he has it listed there as, where is it? It's on the legal notice that went out, so that the front projection, section 414, the request is to have a front port projection to 18.2 feet, where 26 is permitted.
Well, how deep are the current stairs, and how deep is the new porch going to be?
Joe, what are the current stairs?
Sorry, Joe Rousseau, JMR Design Consultants, 215 Research Drive, Milford, Connecticut. The projection currently, you can kind of see that if I can just walk up here.
Okay. And sir, can you repeat that again into the microphone, please?
The existing stoop is about 3 feet by 5 or 6 feet wide, and we're going to have the front porch be 5 feet, so we're increasing it by a couple of feet. And it's very close to grade, so it's just one step off of that.
Okay.
And just a comment on that sunroom, I think it's, with a difference of 26 and 31, it's like 4 feet. It's a little, it's a little pizza triangle that comes out like the 4 feet right there.
Okay. And with regards to the sunroom, is there any reason that that can't be squared off against the setback line to retain the square footage that you want to add to the house and not have an infringement in the setback?
Obviously, it could be, but it's presented to you to give a reasonable sized room for them to have as a sunroom with patio furniture and being able to see beyond the other houses down Point Lookout East.
But you could get the same amount of space if you squared it off and did not come into the setback, correct?
Yes, you could. It was to be advantageous to the view. And again, with the front yard, 2 front yard setbacks, that was like, if we can kind of have a little pizza pie, it would allow that angle from there. Actually, they constructed a box on the ground, trying to really have the best advantage to that, while still being very, respectful to that setback.
So it's for the view? but you could get the same square footage without infringing on the setback.
Yeah, 4 feet into the setback.
And with regards to the connection to the garage, have you considered, I understand people generally want to get from their garage to their house, you know, under protection from the elements. Have you considered a portico?
Again, that was considered, but they wanted to have a bathroom there, a closet area, so that the design was to have it attached, have it enclosed fully and heated and whatnot, so.
But, you know, the proposed plan is 3,000 square feet, so there's got to be room somewhere else for a closet or a bathroom. Has that been considered?
Sarah, even if you put a portico on, it's still counted as an attached garage.
Not if it's detached, it can be slightly detached.
Right, and I've seen the designs before where you have an inch gap between, you know. It's presented to you as it's presented, but we're always listening to your comments,
Sure.
so.
Mr. Soto, did you have a question?
Yeah, Attorney Lynch, Stephen, can you zoom in where the garage and it says patio and all that is? Where it's, the garage is, and then it says outdoor shower and patio. Can you zoom in on that? I want to just, you were saying it says mudroom, but on this survey it says proposed patio, proposed landing, and proposed outdoor shower, so.
No, the mudroom, Bill, is between the garage and the lower blue lines. So in other words, the upper area
Okay,
where it
so
says patio, that's
so-
outside. Yeah,
Okay.
that's outside.
Where it says, okay, so that's the mudroom, okay, gotcha.
Do you have the floor plan? The floor plans are up there too. Right.
I haven't looked at those yet. so-
Okay. Yeah.
Any other questions? Mr. King?
Good evening, Attorney Lynch. How are you?
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Good. Just to confirm, that garage, the way it sits as it's detached, that's not in the setback as it currently stands?
Correct. Correct.
And there is no plan to put anything over the garage, no
No
finished
plan.
space?
Absolutely no plan.
Okay.
It can be a condition of approval if you wish.
And what would change on that, that sunroom you're talking about on the the easterly side there?
Well,
If-
Sarah articulated it. You know, she was asking, can it be squared off so that it meets the 30-foot setback? I mean, the answer is yes, but our argument to you is that it's a rather de minimis infringement on the setback. It's 4 feet into the setback, and that's just a corner. Joe referred to it as a slice of pizza. It's an angled triangle section of.
Yeah, I understand. It's a small thing, but it is a small thing that's exceeding into the setback. So what I'm wondering is if it was squared off, if you brought the 26.2 corner up to the setback, and then that other bend there brought it down, I mean, you'd actually be adding more square footage and still be in the setback. Right?
I'm not arguing with it.
Okay.
I'm just articulating the plan as presented to you tonight.
Understood.
Can I have a second with my client?
Sure.
Thanks.
In the meantime, I will ask if there's anyone speaking in favor of this application.
That's it from our end, so.
Okay. Is there anyone opposed to this application? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and make your statement.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Peter Gershkovich, 22 Point Lookout. The house in front of just on the opposite side of the street.
Sir, could you move the microphone a little closer to your...
Yes, sure. Once again, thank you so much for for this opportunity to speak in front of you. My name is Peter Gershkovich. It's 22 Point Lookout.
Sir, can you please spell your name?
Yes, sure. I will submit this. So I am submitting a detailed letter that outlines the objections, and it's signed by me and my wife, who is present here as well, Елена Titko-Gershkovich. And I'm writing this to express my strong opposition to the proposed expansion and zoning change request for this property located at 7 Point Lookout. The proposal not only contradicts the established zoning guidelines of our community, but also possesses significant risks to public safety and undermines the integrity of our neighborhood's aesthetics and community harmony, and sets a dangerous precedent for future development. I would not go through the entire letter. I specifically say about public safety. As you can see, the house is right on the corner, and the angle is almost 90-degree angle. And even now, as the house is out of compliance already, it extends too far, so when you drive, and people drive fast over there, they cannot see you. And kids walking around, people with dogs walking around, etc. That's a major public safety over there. The impact on community safety and aesthetics. As you heard just before that, it's reasonable. Well, it's actually not reasonable, because this house is going to be twice as big as the closest house nearby. This house will block views for at least 3 houses. One of the houses belongs to a person who wrote a history of this whole place, who is a lifelong, lifelong resident of this area. I'm not sure if she's here today, but she is extremely upset about that. The other 3 houses also going to be, other 2 houses are going to be significantly affected. This house will dwarf everything that surrounds it. So, and this impact, I mean, yes, I understand they want to see the water, but others also want to see the water, and the house will block their views for the benefits of the person who just bought this house and just moved into this community. So I spoke about community cohesion and fairness, and you can read the details if you, I don't want to spend too much time on that. The lack of justification for zoning violation, being reasonable is not enough. You need to demonstrate the need. And the expansion is significant. It represents, first of all, front yard setback, 24% reduction from the required setback. For the second floor addition would significantly alter the street-facing profile of the neighborhood. The rear even more. It represents an extreme 65% reduction from the required setback. And again, instead of bringing the house into compliance, making sure that it's safely located and doesn't obstruct the view, it's expanding even further. So it's an expansion of already non-conforming structure, and the legal threshold for variant is not met. Connecticut General Statute, paragraph 8-6, A3 requires demonstration of unusual hardship for variance approval. The proposal fails to demonstrate any legitimate hardship that would justify this significant deviation from established zoning requirements. And connecting garage to a house and adding a second floor, a matter of convenience and preference. And actually the garage can be moved to the house, which would make it immediately attached to the house. So I don't want to spend too much time of your valuable time and just show you the number of people who are here to oppose this expansion. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Is there anyone else opposed to this application?
Good evening. My name is Philip DiGennaro. better known by my lifelong nickname, Buddy DiGennaro. I live at 21 Point Lookout Road. I'd like to welcome the Green Gardens to our neighborhood, just like my wife Mary and I were welcomed just a little over a year ago when we purchased the property. My opposition to this application is certainly not personal. I do feel an obligation to the neighbors and to the city of Milford to voice my concern over these very significant variances being sought. I did sit on the Zoning Board of Appeals and Planning and Zoning Board in Woodbridge for over 10 years, so I certainly understand the concept of a hardship. I'm not against expansion as long as it's within the zoning guidelines. As you can see from the variances being sought, they are not small, they're very significant. They're not just a foot or two. I'd like to make just 2 points from the Zoning Board of Appeal handbook, the state of Connecticut, which is on the website, Milford website, and I also use these same handbooks when I was on the commission. The first one is on page 53 in regards to hardship. It says, a self-inflicted or self-created hardship is never considered proper grounds for a variance. And I do think this is a self-created and self-inflicted hardship. And the second one I like to make is in regards to a variance on page 69, variance to a permit extension of non-conforming use. And it states, only rarely may Zoning Board of Appeals grant a variance encompassing the extension of non-conforming use. One instance is when the new non-conforming use will be less offensive to the comprehensive plan than the existing non-conforming use. It is a general principle in zoning that non-conforming uses should be abolished or reduced to conformity as quickly as the fair interest of the parties will permit. In no case should they be allowed to increase. I do think this is the applicant's wish list and not a hardship, and granting variances do set precedent. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Sir? Sir? Sir?
Yes.
Question.
Sure.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
You said that the hardship was self-inflicted?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, I'm saying the application for these large variances are, their own personal wishes, and their hardship, if they're trying to state a hardship, which I don't think there is a hardship with the size of this, so it's a self-inflicted by their architect and plan.
Well, the hardship would have to do with the land as it sits now, so I just wanted to just clarify that, there's nothing they've done that have made this hardship on their
Right.
own.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in opposition?
Hi, Lynn Iannone, and again...
Ma'am, can you please pull that microphone closer to your mouth? Thank you.
Yes. Lynn Iannone, and I live at 33 Point Lookout. And as people have purchased lots and everybody does additions or whatever, most of all the additions have occurred within the framework. We did ours, we stayed within the base, the foundation of the house, and made our changes. My thing is, when you buy a corner lot or a non-conforming lot, especially if you're a realtor, you know what that means. If you're not a realtor, then maybe you don't know what it means or what it would entail. But the fact that you bought this corner non-conforming lot, you knew, and I have a tough time understanding how you can claim hardship, that it's the lot, it's the one you chose to buy.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in opposition? So we're going to move through one public comment per person. Please.
It's a clarification. I just wanted to specify that self-inflicted by buying a property knowing that, that it's not adequate for their needs.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in opposition? Okay, Attorney Lynch?
Thank you. So, in regard to the gentleman who lives at 22 Point Lookout, who had written a letter previously and made some personal comments about my client owning the property in an LLC, when, of course, that's their own personal business, trying to make some insinuation that this was going to be a business venture. Let me put that to rest right away. My clients intend to live here. They bought this house in the nicest neighborhood, arguably, in town, and they wanted to take the house and develop it and make modifications to it for their family use, and have those modifications be in conformity with the other additions and construction that's going on in Point Lookout. I mean, quite honestly, sure, they could take the existing footprint and they can build a 3-story house and go up 35 feet. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to stay reasonable. They wanted to keep the profile of the house reasonable. They hired arguably one of the best architects appearing before this board on a regular basis to design a house that way. So, you know, if I'm getting a little bit testy, it's because of the fact that they went out of their way to try to accommodate the neighborhood. They filed this application, and all of a sudden the neighbors are coming down and making these comments. If the neighbors want to see a house built on the footprint and stay within the existing setbacks, then a 3-story house can go up there with 35 feet in height to the midpoint. That's not what was designed. They wanted to keep the house in conformity with the other houses in the neighborhood. And I stand by the comments that I made to you earlier, that there is a hardship here. There's an existing nonconformity. They're not exceeding the nonconformity in an appreciable amount. I accept Sarah's comment about 4 feet with the bump out of the room. But again, what is designed and what's been presented to you tonight certainly is a reasonable addition to this house compared with the other construction going down on Point Lookout. Further down the end of the street, there are houses that are being bought, knocked down, and there's 5,000-6,000 square foot homes that are being built. This isn't one of them. This is a reasonably sized house, 3,000 square feet, and, you know, the comment about public safety with a circular driveway, that's totally irrelevant. It has no purview before this board, so I'm not even going to elaborate on that. But again, I stand on the fact that there is a hardship that's existing here with the nonconformity. We have to adhere to 2 front yard setbacks. The garage is what it is. There's no expansion of the garage. By merely attaching it to the house, it creates a situation where we need to hold the R12.5 rear yard setback instead of the accessory structure setback. So I hope you take those comments into consideration and grant this application.
Thank you. Mr. Soto?
Attorney Lynch, when they bought the house, was it non-conforming when they bought it?
Sure. Yeah.
So they couldn't just go straight up 35 feet because they still would need a variance for that if it was a non-conforming, is that correct?
Technically speaking, yeah. Technically speaking.
They can go up 35 feet on the section that is within the setbacks.
Right. So if they move it back a foot, they go up 35 feet, move it back a foot.
Mr. Wolf?
In lieu of the 35-foot that they could have, they went down to what?
It's 23 feet.
To 23, not 26.
The elevation of this house is 23 feet to the midpoint.
Done aesthetically and to limit as much, right, understood.
Let's keep in mind that granting a variance does not preclude these owners or future owners from going up 35 feet within the setback. You can have both.
Taken.
But the board can make conditions to their approvals. Such as the comment that Andy or Bill asked about the garage. I mean, there can be a condition that there be no expansion or construction over the garage. My client would accept that. He has no intention of doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Soto?
Stephen, if the house is non-conforming, can they just go back that foot or whatever within the guidelines and go up 35 feet, or would they still need a variance?
Any part of the house that is zoning location that is compliant as to its location can be 35 feet.
Without a variance,
Sure.
even though it's non-conforming structure?
Yeah, any part of the house that's
All right.
outside of the setback can go up to the maximum height.
Okay, great. Any other questions? Mr. King?
No questions, but I would like to make an amendment, if this passes, that we amend that,
No, we haven't.
We haven't made a motion yet. So if there are no other questions, then this hearing is closed. Mr. Soto?
I move to approve. Did you want to add a modification on here?
yes,
No second story on the garage?
no second story on the garage, so there's no further encroachment on the neighbors.
Okay.
And maybe also, too, to maintain 23 feet
For 23 feet?
23 feet where?
Where?
as proposed.
Oh, in height?
23 in height.
The-
Okay, 26 to the midpoint, right? Was it 26 or 23?
We were 23 and a half.
Okay.
Now, would this apply to the entire structure or only the sections outside the setback?
The entire structure, right?
Well, the board can impose that condition if they want to, because you're entertaining a variance.
Okay. So we'll do it.
We
we'll
can-
do it.
This board has done
we
that
could
before. The
condi-
board,
We could condition the entire structure, not just the sections outside the setback?
yes, this board has done that before.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we've done that with the other one. All right, you ready? 7-Point Lookout West, I move to approve with the following conditions. The garage always remains single story, and the midpoint height of the house, the entire house, is 23.6 feet maximum. The request to vary section 3.1.4.1 front yard setback to 22.9 feet where 30 feet required north side, and 26.2 where 30 feet required east side. Vary rear yard setback to 8.7 feet where 25 feet required to connect existing garage to house. 4.1.4 front yard projection to 18.2 feet where 26 feet permitted north side. Section 6.3.2 for expansion of non-conforming structure for addition to second floor, survey by J. Dennison, revised 1/21/2025.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Open for discussion. I will start. I will say I do not like this application and I do not like the conditions. The house is already zoning non-compliant. That sunroom does not need to be in the setback. We talk a lot about, we had neighbors in opposition and they talked about the view. We talked about that sunroom eking out for the view and getting in the way of other neighbors. We're not here to protect views. However, when structures go into the setback and then it infringes neighbors' views, we have to take opposition into account. The front of the house is already well into the setback and it already has a projection. I don't see why that needs to be increased. I don't see why that sunroom can't be squared off. And I think that between this proposed patio, they have a proposed patio between the existing house and the driveway. That is within the setback. That can be expanded to include a closet and a bathroom, and there can be a portico from the garage. I don't think that any of this needs to be approved, and our zoning regulations allow 35 feet, so let them have 35 feet, but I don't think that we should be making decisions that dictate the style of the neighborhood. We are here to uphold the zoning regulations. Mr. King.
I proposed the amendments in case this passed, but I agree with the chairman. I don't see the need to exceed the setback for the sunroom or on the front with the walkway.
Is this in a position to give them a redo, or are we in a go, no-go? Go, no-go. This is a go, no-go.
Well, we have a motion and we have a second, so we'll take a
Understood.
vote on the motion.
I have a question for Mr. Harris.
Sorry, Mr. Einig, only voting members can speak when the
sorry.
hearing is closed. Any other thoughts? Okay, we'll move to a vote. Mr. King,
Against the motion.
Mr. Wolf,
With the motion.
Mr. Soto,
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch,
With the motion.
against the motion. Motion fails. Okay, item number 3, Ms. Hirsch.
2 Broadway, MBP 11/144/4, CDD-2, Thomas Lynch Esquire for the Lazy Lobster LLC owner to vary section 3.17.1.11 to allow restaurant with 1,500 square feet floor area, a liquor permit where 2,000 square foot minimum required.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And on this application, I'm here with my client, Angelo Lavaro. Angelo is the owner of the Lazy Lobster. And for those of you who frequent the Walnut Beach area, the Lazy Lobster is a lobster shack that's been in existence some 20 years down in Walnut Beach. The actual address of the building is 2 Broadway. And this is an application to vary section 317.111 to allow a restaurant with 1,500 square feet to have a liquor permit where 2,000 square feet is required. So just a little bit of background. Angela bought the restaurant last year. As I said, it's been located in that location for over 20 years. And it's in the CDD2 zone. It's in the commercial zone of Naugatuck Avenue and Walnut Beach. So it's surrounded by many other commercial ventures. The building itself is some 7,500 square feet. It's a mixed-use building with, I believe, 5 one-bedroom apartments on the second floor and then 2 commercial spaces on the first floor. The space of the restaurant itself is 1,500 square feet. It's been in existence, so I claim to you that this particular regulation, it doesn't relate to structures, it's more of a use regulation. This application is more of a seeking a variance for the size of the space that's there now, and as I said, it's been in existence for many, many years. Some of these regulations under section 551 of the zoning regulations as they relate to the location of liquor sites have been subjects of many applications before you over the years. When I went over this with Stephen, he made the comment that this is a dumb regulation, so I'm not going to elaborate other than saying that I agree it's a dumb regulation, because I don't know what difference a 1,500-foot site versus a 2,000 square foot site means as it relates to, you know, the liquor permit. Mr. Regani from the State Liquor Control Authority is here with us tonight as well, and they're in full support of this. Angela has put together a cafe license for this site. So, you know, he just quite honestly just wants to be able to afford his customers the opportunity to be able to get a drink with their dinner. We submitted a floor plan to you. There's really not going to be any changes to the restaurant. The rear portion of the premises has the existing kitchen. There's a patio that's in the front, and there's going to be just a small bar area per the state liquor regulations as it relates to cafes versus restaurants. This meets the floor plan of a cafe so that you don't have to have partitions and separations between dining rooms and a bar area. So it's based on the size of the space. That's the layout, and it's, as I said, it's been approved by the Liquor Control Authority. So I think it's a reasonable request. There's many other sites down there. Again, under 5512, you have to have spacing between locations, 1,500 feet between locations. This matches that. There's another regulation that says, as you all know, you have to be 300 feet away from a church or a playground or a school. There's no problem with that distance. This is merely the regulations relating to the size of the space itself. So again, I think it's reasonable. I'd ask that you grant the application. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Lynch. There's a couple of questions.
Madam Chair, if I could, I would just like to state on the record that my alleged opinion is irrelevant.
But I had to put it on the record. It may be irrelevant, but it's on the record.
It's a tricky move. A cafe license. That is, I believe you were saying that regulates partitions and distance from
Correct.
tables and bars. Does it also regulate what is served? Is this just beer and wine, or is this also liquor?
No, they're going to have a full liquor permit.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
And how big is the bar? Is it a sit-at bar or just a service
It's
bar?
shown on the floor plan there, Sarah. It's not that big. It's probably got 3 or 4 seats. 5 seats.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
Yep. And then
Okay.
there's 4 tables in the dining area itself.
Okay. Does this establishment also front on Naugatuck Avenue, or is there another establishment around the corner there?
This is the right-hand space of the building. I believe the building has frontage on Naugatuck, but his
But the
space
restaurant does not.
Does not, correct.
So those, because I'm seeing outdoor tables all the way to the corner, are they going to wrap around now?
I think that's another establishment. What's to the left?
The whole patio
what's on
to
the
the
Naugatuck
corner?
Avenue side?
Okay.
Okay.
And that's currently what you have, and that's not changing? Okay. Okay, great. Any other questions?
That 1,500 is excluding the patio.
Pardon me?
So the 1,500 calculation excludes the patio. So the patio is extra. Or is that
The
1,500?
1,500
No, the 15
square
includes the
feet.
patio, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For the purposes of Mr. State Liquor Authority, it had to be included in the number.
Very good.
What is the size then of the interior?
I think it's like 1,200.
Okay. Mr. King?
Is there, Attorney Lynch, is there currently like a beer and wine permit? Is there any kind of alcohol permit there now?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? Mr. Iner?
Yes. Does this prohibit them from having live music? Or would that be allowed?
Well, that's a great question, because I'm appearing before the Planning and Zoning Board next Tuesday night to change the regulations as to live music in Milford. So the answer to your question is, right now, there's a regulation that says you can't have live music outdoors in Milford. Certainly indoor, you can have a band inside, but in terms of on the patio or to have something outside the premises, you can't have that currently.
But if they got the liquor license, they could have music inside, live music inside currently, whether it's 1,500 square feet or 2,000?
No, not under that permit, no. Not without getting a further permit from Liquor Control.
Okay, thank you.
I hear, again, Mr. Liquor Control behind me going, no.
Are liquor and music connected via these permits?
Yeah, you have to have a cafe permit to be able to have music versus a restaurant permit.
I see. So a restaurant permit cannot have music?
Correct.
And no permit at all cannot have music?
No, a cafe permit can.
No, I mean, if you were a restaurant without a liquor license, could you have music?
Oh, certainly, absolutely.
But if you have a restaurant liquor license, no music, cafe license, yes, music.
Right.
Okay. Mr. King?
Attorney Lynch, you said you had someone from the State Liquor Control here?
Yeah, he's the consultant he's the person who files the applications with Liquor Control.
He works for the liquor control?
No, he's a consultant. He has his own business.
A consultant? And what is that? What does he consult on?
He assists people with their liquor applications and presents them to the Department of Consumer Protection up in Hartford.
Okay, but he doesn't work for the state?
Right, he
Okay.
doesn't. When I was referring to him as Mr. Liquor Control Authority, I meant, may have misspoken, he's not with the Liquor Control Authority. He's the one who presents the applications. Okay?
Madam Chair, just as a reminder, this application isn't about the liquor type, cafe or restaurant. It's simply a variance to allow liquor in a space that's less than 2,000 square feet.
Yes, of course. Excuse me, I was just curious about the connections.
Yeah, no,
Thank
no.
you for indulging me.
No.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
Jeff
Harris.
had a great question about the music thing too, so.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Mr. Lynch? No. Okay, is there anyone speaking in favor of this application?
I would be happy to say that I submitted through Meg to the website a petition that was signed by 19 people in the local area, Naugatuck Avenue, Granville, Laurel Avenue down Laurel Beach, Stowe Avenue, Naugatuck Avenue, all individuals who signed saying that they're in support of this application. I did submit it to Meg and it's on the website.
Yes, I see it here, 19 people in support. Okay, is there anyone here tonight speaking in support? Is there anyone opposed to this application? Okay, any final questions for Attorney Lynch? All right, this hearing is closed. Mr. Soto.
2 Broadway, I move to approve the request to vary section 3.17.1.11 to allow restaurant with 1,500 square foot area liquor permit where 2,000 square feet minimum required.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I don't have a problem with this.
I don't have a problem, it's pretty basic.
Yep. And it's also in compliance with the other regulations about the licensing distance away from other establishments and entities, et cetera. Any other thoughts? Okay.
We're close to Nautilus and close to St. Gabriel's, but it's a good move, I like it.
Okay, great. We'll move to a vote then. Mr. King,
With the motion.
Mr. Wolf,
With the motion.
Mr. Soto,
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch.
With the motion.
I'm with the motion. It passes. Thank you. Okay, next item, Ms. Hirsch.
43 Driftwood Lane, MBP 45/525/3, R7.5, Kevin Kersadian, Esquire, for Andrew Carlson, owner, to vary section 4.1.4, front step projection to 17.4 feet where 26 permitted. Thank you. Survey by J. Codispodi, dated July 5th, 2024.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Kersadian. I'm at 3 Lafayette Street here in Milford. With me this evening is one of the owners and the applicant, Dr. Andrew Carlson. Andrew's a lifelong resident of Milford. He and I grew up together and went to high school together. This is a family house. His wife, Elise, also a doctor here in Milford. This was the house that she grew up in, and her parents' house, and her mom is now living with Andy and Elise, and they have plans for this house. This is the first step in the process. We need this variance before we can proceed to inland wetlands and also a coastal site plan application. So there's one variance requested, front step projection to 17.4 feet where 26 feet permitted. This is just for the stair projection. It's a proposed new single-family house. The existing house was built in around 1970 out of a subdivision that was approved by the Planning and Zoning Board back in 1966. The existing house has, my understanding, limited understanding is it does have some issues with the soils and it might be partially, I guess, unstable or potentially sinking because of the soils on the property. So the house it's not in a situation where it can be renovated and rehabilitated. This lot, first hardship, title and inland wetlands. They're on the rear of the lot. The lot fronts on, has a backyard on Gulf Pond and front on Driftwood. The lot is at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it is 65 feet at the street, which is, and it's has an arc. I'm not sure of the degree of the arc, but there's an arc there that cuts into the front yard setback. Taking tidal and inland wetlands into consideration, the buildable area of the lot is actually a little less than the 12,500 square feet that's required for the zone. The topography of the lot, I don't know if you're familiar with the area or you had a chance to visit it or drive by, slopes from the front of the street where it's about at a 15.4 elevation down to Gulf Pond, which is below the coastal jurisdiction line of 4.7 feet, and then there's also mean high water mark partially towards the rear of the property. One of the ways to achieve a hardship or as an acceptable hardship for variances is if you are reducing a nonconformity. I think you heard a little bit about that earlier in one of the earlier applications. The existing house, the foundation of the existing house is 27 feet from the street. The proposed house foundation will be 31.8 feet. So the house foundation and structure will actually be further away from the street than the current house. As I had mentioned, there's some tidal and inland wetlands, approximately 900 square feet on the lot. And what's significant in this application is that the wetlands, both tidal, mostly tidal, some inland, stretch. It's about 155 linear feet, so it's across the back of the entire lot. So for many reasons, both regulatory and common sense and good construction practices, the house is being pushed away from the rear of the lot to the front, which is driving the request for the projection variance for the stairs. This board understands the standards for granting a variance. You've talked about it this evening, and I've mentioned this in past in these similar memos about the unusual hardship required. And this application is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. It's a legal pre-existing lot. It's an existing single-family house. What's being proposed is a single-family house. And the requested variances is the minimum necessary in order to construct the single-family house with the attached garage and decks. So because of the topography and the location of the wetlands, the house is slightly elevated, mostly towards the rear of the property, and it's pushed towards the street. So I've mentioned that some of the hardships. It's also in the FEMA SHFA AE12 flood zone, which drives some of the requirement to elevate the structure towards the rear of the property. Being at the end of the cul-de-sac, it's uniquely shaped, especially the arc in the front yard, which takes, if that was a straight line, if it was a regular rectangular or square lot, that would be about 7 or 8 feet more of a front yard setback. That would be standard in a R12-5 zone these days with a new subdivision. As I had mentioned, reduction of existing non-conforming setback from 27 feet is moving back to 31.8 for the actual house itself. That's an independent basis for granting a variance, and then again, the location of the wetlands. There's an example, a setback variance was upheld based upon topographical conditions on a parcel of land where the shape of the property, and this is an oddly shaped parcel, and the location of wetlands, which we have here, and the amount, especially the linear feet. In the other case, this case I'm referencing, the wetlands were in the middle of the property. But the board, in that case, saw fit that there was a hardship and granted the variance. So, pending your questions, that's the application. There's several hardships that run with the land that are unique to this property that don't apply to all properties in the R12-5 zone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so to clarify, the existing house infringes on the front yard setback, and the proposed house will not, except for the projection variance for the stairs.
That's correct.
And in the rear of the house, where we have a wetlands situation, the existing house has a deck that projects out into the setback, and the proposed house will not extend beyond the rear yard setback in any way.
That's also correct.
Okay, great. Any questions for Attorney Crusaden? All right, is there anyone speaking in favor of this? Mr. King.
Through you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Attorney Crusaden. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you.
How far are the steps from the front property line?
From the front yard?
Yep.
From the front yard. So the existing or proposed?
The proposed.
Well, we're asking for 17.4 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Kevin, is this it, or do you have to do FEMA? Are you going anywhere else with this?
So we'll have to we have to go to inland wetlands. We have to go to the Planning and Zoning Board for a coastal site plan and a special permit application because there is work within 25 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line or the mean high water mark. It'll probably be referred to deep as part of that process, but we won't actually have a deep application for anything.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, is there anyone speaking in favor of this application?
My name is Ed Hotchkiss. I live at 28 Driftwood Lane. I know Andy and Elise. I know Margot, who's going to live there also. I've been there 25 years. In the neighborhood, I've canvassed a couple of other people. My daughter lives across the street. The people next to this house, I've talked to her, and we all seem to be in favor, and my wife and I are also in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in favor of this application? Is there anyone opposed to this application? Are there any further questions for Attorney Crusaden? Okay, this hearing is closed. Mr. Soto.
43 Driftwood Lane, I move to approve the request to vary section 4.1.4. Front step projection is 17.4 feet, where 26 feet permitted. Survey by J. Codispoti, 7/5/2024.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. I like this proposal. It's eliminating a zoning on non-compliance issue. The house itself is within the setback for the proposed house is within the setback. The existing house is not. They're asking for the front step projection because the house is being elevated, which is responsible in a lot with a coastal lot. So I'm okay with this.
I agree with Madam Chair that same thing, also the odd-shaped lot doesn't help either. I'm with this motion.
I'm good with it.
I have no problem with it.
Okay, great. Moving to a vote for the record. Mr. King.
With the motion.
Mr. Wolf.
With the motion.
Mr. Soto.
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch.
With the motion.
And I am with the motion. The motion passes. Thank you. Okay, next item.
800 East Broadway, MBP 27/454/4, R75 zone, Kevin Crusaden Esquire for Vanessa Lessard, owner, to vary section 4.1.4, front yard setback projection of 0, where 8 feet permitted on East Broadway, and then side yard projection of 1.3, where 4 feet permitted, thank you. Southerly side, all to construct deck and stairs, survey by P. Stowell, dated December 12, 2024.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Kevin Crusaden. My office is at 3 Lafayette Street. I'm here tonight with Vanessa Lessard, one of the owners of 800 East Broadway /6 Silver Lane. This is another projection variance. It's actually 2 variances requested for this. Front yard setback projection of 0 feet where 8 feet permitted on East Broadway. However, in a certain portion, it's already at 0 feet. It's actually beyond 0 feet. It's negative probably a foot or 6 inches. and then a side yard projection of 1.3 feet where 4 feet permitted, which is on the southerly side or the right-hand side if you're looking at the plans. And this is to construct a new deck and stairs. The existing cement stairs and stoop, which are currently partially located in the state right-of-way, East Broadway is actually a state road, will be removed. And my client has done a lot of work getting a permit to do the work within the state right-of-way to remove the existing stairs, also repair or replace the sidewalk and make the sidewalk on that corner ADA compliant. That's what she's doing at her cost as part of this process. But in order to do that, they need to remove the existing concrete stairs and landing. This lot is a legal pre-existing non-conforming lot. It has a 2-dwelling unit use. It was created, this lot was created in 1909 by map number A4, 20 years before the zoning regulations were established and before the final location of the actual subdivision map says proposed highway. So East Broadway wasn't even there yet when the lot was put into place or created. I'm not sure whether East Broadway was there when the house was there. I'm assuming some kind of dirt road or path was there at least. There was also a trolley down there on the other side of East Broadway. The existing house was built in 1920, it says, according to the assessor's records, 9 years before the zoning regulations were established. So when the zoning regulations were first established in 1929, the lot was located in the D residence zone, which required 2,800 square foot lots. This lot is about, I think, 2,900 square feet. And it required a front yard setback of whatever the average setback line observed by buildings on the same side of the street between two intersecting streets are. And then in 1972 or thereabouts, it became R5, which required basically a minimum 10-foot front yard setback. So it was long pre-existing. It's significantly undersized for the zone. It's almost half the size of what the zone requires. Again, this is in compliance with the comprehensive plan. It's a single-family house that needs new stairs and access to the property, and they need to square away this issue with you can see it edging into the state right-of-way, and they're also going to repair and, like I said, make that corner sidewalk ADA compliant as part of the project, and they've already secured their state permits, which I think I put in the back of the package for that. You can see it's not really quite a pizza slice, maybe like a Pepe's style pizza slice, but it goes like from the Silver Lane side, and it widens out a little bit, but there's really not a lot of room to open the front door, stand there, have the storm door open, and that's why a deck is being proposed, and that's why the stairs are proposed on that side of the house, so someone could walk up, walk over. If you had a chance to drive by, and I think I did include a couple probably black and white photos in the back, it's pretty small, short area there, so it's not out of character with what's in the rest of the neighborhood, and I understand that that's not what a variance requires, is the character of it, but there is significant hardships. You do have 2 front yards, you do have a severely undersized lot. They are reducing a nonconformity by removing the cement stairs and bringing up the sidewalk to current code, and also they need access to the front door. So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so technically we're increasing the nonconformity here by running the porch all along the width of the house, but we are taking it off the public right-of-way, which honestly I think is much more impactful than being in the setback. Okay. Any questions for Attorney Crusader? Anyone speaking in favor of this application? Is there anyone opposed to this application? With no further questions, this hearing is closed. Mr. Soto.
800 East Broadway, I move to approve the request to vary section 4.1.4, front yard setback to 0 feet where 8 feet permitted, East Broadway. Side yard setback to 1.3 feet where 4 feet permitted, southerly side, all to construct deck and stairs. Surveyed by P. Stovall, 12/12/24.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. I think that this is a big improvement. It gets it off the sidewalk, it gets it off the public right-of-way. I mean, that's hugely important in my opinion, so I don't have any problems here.
It's a big improvement to what was there, so I don't have a problem with this.
Okay, we'll move it to a vote. Mr. King?
With the motion?
Mr. Wolf?
With the motion,
Mr. Soto?
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch?
With the motion.
And I am with the motion. The motion passes. Thank you. All right, and moving on to our last item.
29 Live Oaks Road, MBP 93/703/29, R12.5, John Armstrong, owner, to vary section 3.1.4.1, front yard setback to 28.5 feet where 30 required for addition to residence. Survey by J. Dennison, January 23rd, 2025.
Good evening, everyone. I'm John Armstrong, and I have the intention of having a garage put on with some storage over the top, and we ran into some issues as it had gotten constructed where it was, I don't know how the builder had some kind of confusion or however it ended up coming to this, but we had to get an attachment because it was detached, but it was taller than 15 feet. And long story short, when we did that, we needed a survey, and when the surveyor, Mr. Dennison, came out, the far corner of the garage had gone over the setback by 1.5 feet. So I'm applying for the variance. I guess, there's footings at one point were approved and everything I thought was, good to go. I guess, forgive me for not quite understanding this as well as most, but that's why I figured you'd hire a builder, So I'm applying for the variance because of the unusual kind of loop. I guess I don't know how it kind of was missed by the builder, but it measures out to 28.5 feet as opposed to the 30 that's required in the setback.
Okay, thank you. When was this garage built?
We signed a contract in like September, and it didn't begin because he had issues with the permits. So he went back. He thought that he could build directly off the dining room. I said, I'm pretty sure you can't with these zoning regulations. And after, I think around in November, I think he started, or I could be wrong though, could be maybe late October, where he dug out and got everything come out. I think their approval for the footings was sometime late October.
Okay. And at that time, you had approval for what? A detached garage?
I believe it was a detached garage with the intention of attaching it.
Okay. But you were approved, you had a zoning permit and building permit for what?
I believe a detached garage.
At what height?
I don't know, I'm sorry. I had wanted 2 stories, one for storage.
Okay, but that wouldn't have been approved because a detached structure cannot exceed 15 feet.
I understand that,
So how did this get built at 2 stories?
The builder told me he had the permit to do it. He said it was approved and everything was done. And I guess I'm just the person who was trusting in his builder.
You never looked at those permits or the plans?
I looked at the plans. He sent me plans, absolutely. I have those to look at and everything, but that's kind of why we're in this predicament here.
And the plans were for a 2-story garage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you putting the mudroom on at the time?
The mudroom was in the plans, yes.
Okay, so it was always attached then, so that's why he was able to
That's
go-
what I asked for, yeah.
That's what he was able to go 2 stories. The
That's-
mudroom wasn't added later.
No, the mudroom's not
So when
there.
he built the garage, he built the mudroom.
The mudroom's not, we stopped everything completely because the height exceeded 15 feet. So we stopped everything, so the mudroom is proposed.
So the mudroom's not there now.
Not right now, just there's the hole for the
Is the
footings.
garage finished?
No.
So if the issue is that the garage exceeded 15 feet, then the mudroom was not part of the initial proposal? because otherwise that wouldn't have been an issue.
That, you could be right, and I'm sorry, I'm really not, it's not really my forte. I just kind of trusted in the builder, you know?
Stephen, is there a distance, the house has, a detached garage has to be from the house? I thought it used to be 8 feet, is that still it?
No, that regulation was
Eliminated?
deleted a long time ago.
Okay.
Just for the record, I'd like, since I issued the zoning permit, and the applicant mentioned it, a zoning permit was issued for a detached, single-story garage with a height of no more than 15 feet.
Okay, so we had a permit for a detached single-story garage not to exceed 15 feet, and we ended up with a 2-story detached garage that now we are trying to attach to
Correct.
make zoning compliant, except that now makes the garage in the setback,
Yes, correct. Just the far corner.
because the garage now becomes part of the house, which means it's subject to different setback regulations.
Well, even if the garage was detached and it was 1 story and it was 15 feet, it would still be in the front yard setback by 1.5 feet. So he put the garage in the wrong spot, the builder.
Well,
I don't know all the regulations and rules, but we did have somebody come out and approve where it was, and I don't know if that makes a difference, and I'm not going to
Well,
anybody for that.
usually a surveyor will stake your corners out for you.
Yeah, we
must
only
have
had the
he must have
inspector. The
measured.
survey was done after, at the request of Mr. Harris, just to show the mudroom and show all the elevations and everything.
So you didn't have a survey prior to building
No,
this?
it was done after.
so, Bill, I believe that the mudroom is in an effort to make the 2 stories compliant. If it had been built as a single story, which is what was permitted, it would not require a mudroom because
Yeah,
as an
Right,
auxiliary
right.
building, it
But you
would
said
have been
you stopped
compliant.
construction on it, so how far is the garage? Is the roof on the garage?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is built.
So what the builder told me, and I could say it's pretty accurate from what the inspector said, after the foundation was approved, 'cause I have a camera that looks at all this. He had said that once the foundation was done, you could build it up, close it, and then he'll come and look. And then when he came and looked, that's when I think the problem was found. And that's when we got the letter a few days later to stop everything and had one of 3 options to take it down, make it 15 feet, or attach it. And we said, all right, let's submit plans to attach it. The builder submitted the plans to Mr. Harris, and he said, no, it needs a survey. So it took me some time to get a survey, and we got the survey, and then that's when we ran into needing the variance.
What still has to be done to finish the garage?
The mudroom
No,
side,
the garage.
well, they ran electrical, but it has to be approved. They did those boards, the plywood on the outside and the taping, and the roof. So it needs
Siding.
It
the
needs
siding,
siding.
yeah.
Is the roof shingled or is it just plywood?
It's shingled, yeah.
Windows?
There are windows up top, but that's just to not keep it completely closed. There's 4 windows.
So
2
you
in
dried
front.
in?
Yeah, yep.
Bill, considering it's not yet sided, how reasonable or unreasonable would it be to reframe that front corner?
Garage slab is poured?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The garage slab is poured?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at a lot.
Sir,
Because you don't know if the footing's big enough to move it. I doubt the footing's big enough to move it back 1.5 feet.
Got it. Okay.
sir, just so I understand, your builder pulled a permit for a 1-story, 15-foot tall, 2-car detached garage and decided to build a 2-story garage?
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, my intention from him was to ask him for what I wanted was an attached 2-car with a large storage above
Who
it.
drew the plans for this garage?
MD Design and Build.
Okay. Did it show a 2nd story on it?
I don't know if this is what he said to me. I don't know what got sent to Milford.
And your builder pulled the permit? And who is this builder?
Mike
I doubt
DeLavere.
very much it showed, Stephen would have noticed it had 2 stories.
Oh, I'm sure. At this point in time, nothing gets by Steve. So, but I just,
Is the builder here tonight?
no.
And what's his name again?
Mike DeLaverio, MD Design and Build.
Out of where?
Is he still on the job or did you throw him off?
Well, I'm trying to be as patient as possible, and hopefully hopefully get this done, and then deal with the repercussions of it after. But he's still on it. He's got a lot of my money, so.
Sure would be nice for him to be here to speak up in your favor, or
Yeah,
tell us more about his project.
Yeah, I agree with you, and unfortunately couldn't work out for him tonight, but I would, if necessary, would definitely make him come to the next one.
Sounds like he's leaving the dirty work to us.
I feel the same way, and I feel like I feel like I shouldn't be here. You pay somebody to do a job, and you hope it's done right and done well.
Does MD happen to be a relative?
No, he was just a good salesman.
And you're still with him?
I am, because the majority of the money I had for this project.
And all of this money, and you haven't gone in and seen the plans that he submitted?
He showed me plans.
Did you check? You knew you had a big problem. Have you gone in and looked at anything?
Well, now after everything had come through, I'm starting to see things piece by piece. He showed me building permit versus zoning permit. He says, I'm by the book, I'm by the book, I'm by the book.
And he's still on the job?
I don't know how else I could get it finished, to be honest.
Well,
you sue him.
Do you owe him a lot of money? Does he owe, how much money have you, I mean, I don't want to know the figure, but I mean, is he got sitting on a lot of your money until he finishes it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of stuck.
Right.
You got to have him finish it, because
Yeah.
you've given him the
And
majority of the money.
That's kind of where I'm at here.
Okay, yeah, and how this applicant handles his affairs is not really germane to our discussion here tonight. But it's very clear there was some sort of bait and switch between City Hall and the applicant
No, it sounds
with
like
the builder's plans and permits.
I don't like this.
Neither do I.
Nope.
We can't make this guy come in?
Well, I'm not
what
sure
good is it?
that's
What
not
good is it?
going to.
With the significance of
Hold on. We're all upset about this, obviously. We don't like having to decide variance requests retroactively. We don't like it when the structures have already been built, but it has already been built. Dragging the builder in to be held accountable isn't going to change the issues that we need to discuss here tonight. So let's just try to stay focused on the request at hand.
Stephen, could you zoom in on that front yard setback to the corner of the existing house, the right corner? What's that figure, 27 and a half feet? No, of the existing house. The front yard setback, what does the measurement say? 27 and a half?
27.
27. So the way I'm looking at it, the front corner of the house is at 27, the front corner of the garage is at 28 and a half feet, so.
It's better than what's existing.
Exactly.
It's a foot and a
I
half.
mean,
It's not egregious.
Obviously, this guy got caught in the middle here. I don't see why we shouldn't just approve this and let him get it settled.
All right, well, let's carry on with the, is there anyone here in favor of the application? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Pete Eschweiler. I live at 22 Live Oaks Road. This is in direct view of my house. And as you just stated, the corner of that garage is a little farther back than even the other part, so for your 30 feet, I'm telling you, I'm just hearing how bad this is now, but he's done nothing but beautify my neighborhood. Ever since they moved in, they're doing nothing but taking care of that property. If it's too tall, let him attach it, let him have it. I mean, this is something that we in the neighborhood, we're always trying to improve. I did my addition many, many years ago. I've been in there for 28 years. It really looks like a nice piece of construction that they're doing. However, now that I heard about the builder, good luck to him, but I don't believe that there is anything. And when you're coming around that bend, it doesn't block a view coming around that bend or anything like that. It actually looks like it's further back from the house. If anything, it looks like the front corner of the house is sticking out from what you're showing there, but I believe it should be approved.
Thank you.
I've never been here before to see you guys do this, so this is, now I might come more often. But thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else speaking in favor of the application? Is there anyone opposed to the application? Okay, do we have any more questions for the applicant? All right, then, this hearing is closed.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. Since this garage is in the setback, I think we should, and there is a second floor up there, I think we should.
Madam Chair, is there a motion?
No.
You don't want to add it to the motion?
Well, we read the motion and then we discuss, so then I believe we can amend the motion afterwards. That's right. Mr. Soto.
29 Live Oaks Road, I move to approve the request to vary section 3.1.4.1 front yard setback to 28.5 feet, where 30 feet required for addition to residence. Survey by J. Dennison, 12325.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Mr. King, your thoughts?
Well, since that garage is going into the setback and, and it's got a second floor that there wasn't a permit pulled for it, I think we should stipulate that it, well, I guess it can't, can we stipulate, Stephen, that it not be finished in the finished space, that it only be used for storage? Or is there nothing we can do with limiting what's going on on the second floor of that garage?
If the board approves the variance with the addition as built with the mudroom, it's part of the house. He can have living space all he wants.
All right, well, then I withdraw the amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve, and we have a second, and as was clarified, if approved, it is what it is. Any thoughts?
I don't have a problem with this. I mean, obviously, the homeowner's caught in a jam here, and the builder didn't follow the proper procedures, so it's not the homeowner's fault. I mean, you know, he showed him permits and all that, but I mean, I've showed customers permits for years. They don't really look at them, you know what I mean? They look at your plans and all that, so I have no problem with this. It's less setback than the house is, and it looks nice on the lot, and I think we should approve it.
Mr. King?
I'm glad that Mr. Soto pointed out the corner there that's closer, and I have no problem with approving this. However, I hate the fact that we're being put in this position by the builder. I do not like the fact that a permit for a one-story garage was submitted, and I don't fault the owner at all. You trust a professional to do professional things, and you know, and there's no excuse for a builder to submit a one-story garage plan and get a permit for that, and then go 2 stories. It's inexcusable, and I hope you don't use this builder anymore.
The variances as shown are minimal. You're just nipping off a couple of corners. I didn't have a problem with that, but listening repeatedly about this builder getting thrown under the bus and him staying on this job, the culpability of this property owner with the amount of money that you're putting in on a property like this, I don't like that, but I'm with approving these minor variances. I don't like it.
As am I. I mean, I've got nothing to say that hasn't been said. I feel like our hands are tied when we get these retroactive variance requests, especially one like this, and I don't like it, but we're here now.
I wish the attorneys were still here.
Okay, well, let's put it to a vote. Mr. King?
With the motion.
Mr. Wolf?
With the motion.
Mr. Soto?
With the motion.
Ms. Hirsch?
With the motion.
And I'm with the motion. The motion passes. Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.
Okay, so we have 2 items extended to May, 171 3rd Avenue and 47 North Street. Do we have any, what? And, oh, and 354 North Street, thank you. So that's 3 for May.
And I
Anything else?
believe there are 2 new ones that we're aware of so far.
Okay. Okay, great. Any other, any other news, any other updates? No.
I have a quick, if I may add to the staff update. I don't know if everybody's aware that, but our own Meg Green was nominated by the mayor last month as the City of Milford Employee of the Month. So let's give a round of applause for Megan.
Congratulations.
And Meg, make sure you type that up so it's in the record. I'll be looking, okay?
That's so you're so modest, Meg. You didn't share that with anyone. That's enough. That goes right here under new business and staff update.
I've got to just give a tiny bit of background. It was probably the most lovely thing that's happened to me in 13-plus years of working with the city. A mom called, and her fourth grader asked her, how did they come up with the address numbers? Well, it just so happens that Stephen and I do that all the time. And there's some really old maps. They came in, and this child, honestly, the way she lit up when she was looking at the maps, I was like, this is a geography major in the making. So it was, and Emma happened to be there, the admin for the mayor, and caught a picture, and the rest was history.
That's wonderful.
It was
Well,
very
congratulations,
kind of fun.
Meg.
Thank you.
That's great. All right, can we have a motion to approve the minutes from March?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. See you next month.